All right, ladies and gentlemen, time to get this chapter underway. I've eaten my food, got a little bit of drink left, but I'll save it for after this session. Let's get started with more Sakamoto Days, shall we? Yo, peoples! Qushu 92 here. Welcome back to more Sakamoto Days. In the last chapter of Sakamoto, we had Mr. Shishiba and Osaragi throwing hands with Gozu and Torres. Tanabata still nowhere to be seen. Shin has Atari. And we also have Amane and Toramaru flying in on a helicopter in order to get Sakamoto out, because when Atari took to the wheel, she her bad luck kind of wound up blowing out every single tire of the big old armored van that they were driving this whole time. So now, while the fighting is going on, it seems like there's going to be an attempt to get them to the JCC, while we still have the Saionji twins back at the JCC, so that's a matter that needs to be resolved. Chapters! So let's check out Days 239, Tinderbox. And we have Amane and company, Amane and Toramaru going, "Shin, is everyone okay?"
"Amane, what are you doing here?"
And Gozu looks up at him. And then Toramaru chimes in,
"The JCC's a disaster! There's these twins from Kansai who are crazy strong, and the Seba brothers were fighting them, and..."
"We'll explain later. Hurry, let's get Sakamoto and his family up here." And then it cuts to Gozu, who's standing on top of the van going, "I heard that. You're not going anywhere." But the thing is, Aoi's annoyed. We really don't see Aoi's, bothered face. We don't. But she just goes, "Tch." And then Shin is looking, but before Gozu can do anything, he gets blindsided by Shishiba and sent flying across the highway into a building on the other side.
"Mr. Shishiba?"
"Hurry up and get Mr. Sakamoto out of here. Y'all are cramping my style."
Got it."
And then Toramaru goes,
"Hurry up! Hurry!" "Whoa, a Sakamoto munchkin? Cute!"
And then it cuts to Hana going,
"Hi, Amane."
And then Shin looks over as we see a whole bunch of JAA dudes, many of which have very large RPGs, going, "Hold it right there, Taro Sakamoto."
Great. Just what we needed. A bunch of JAA forces.
"Shoot down the chopper."
"Roger." "Crap."
And while one of them are starting to aim an RPG at them, we get someone going, "Hard boiled!" And then launches a punch so hard, it sends basically every single one of those JA guys flying. Boiled comes in. Boiled! Oh, my boy Boiled! Boiled comes in and launches one punch, but it sends everybody flying. And we also have Wu-Tang here, too.
"Boiled! Wu-Tang!"
"Leave this riff-raff to us."
"Go. We can't all fit in the chopper."
"Anyway, when Sakamoto wakes up, tell him something for me. You're my #1 hard-boiled friend, and now we..."
"What? Sorry, I can't hear anything over the chopper. Did you say anything?"
"You're my best."
"Say what?"
And now we have Sakamoto, so everyone's in the helicopter now, while Boiled and Wu-Tang stay behind.
"So Seba's back there fighting?"
"Yeah, that's how we were able to come for Sakamoto."
"Then the JCCs."
And then Shin realizes something. Because Tanabata is on the roof. Tanabata is on the roof already, looking at the helicopter, and his guitar doubles as a rifle. Because he bends the neck. He bends the neck of the rifle, loads some rounds in, and then aims it at the helicopter. And Shin realizes, and he's looking out the window. And then Amane, "Shin?"
"Sorry, Amane. Keep evading them until Mr. Sakamoto wakes up." What? Mr. Sakamoto's the only guy who can turn this situation around.
And then Aoi just goes,
Shin!
as Shin drops out with a whole lead pipe of his own, like some piping, and he drops out going,
No.
as he jumps out and he launches towards Tanabata, Tanabata shoots, but Shin blocks it and he starts clashing with Tanabata. Then we cut back to Oki. It's not Nagumo? Who's the dude in the fire truck then? Because we get Oki still fighting Nagumo. Well, there goes my theory of it being him driving the fire truck, because this isn't a flashback panel. It's not black. The background's not black. Oki is still talking and fighting Nagumo. There's quite a commotion in the city. Yeah. Apparently, we're not the only ones fighting. Kind of exciting, huh, Mr. Oki? It's like an actual war. Cheeky jerk. Staying cool as always, huh? And then we cut to Shishiba, who's facing off against Gozu. We get Osaragi, who's facing off against Torres. We get Kipe on his own, facing off against Natsuki and Mafuyu. We get Hardboiled and Wu-Tang. We get Atari. We get Shin versus Tanabata. And then we get Aoi ending. This chapter going,
Wake up, sweetie.
and then we see Sakamoto's body. And then we get a heartbeat. And that's the end of the chapter. Okay. Also, why does it look like yeah! Yeah! Wow, that is the same face that Gojo made when people were asking him, since Sukuna is powered up, who would win, you, or who would win between you, Kenjaku, and Sukuna? He said, like, nah, I'd win. Nagumo has that same face, but also the fact that Nagumo is still fighting Oki. So that just means that the guy with the fire truck was just like a random person with very, very strong arms that caught Shin, who also decided to fight against the order by using the crane to like smash into them, unless Shin was the one, unless they were controlling that from like where they were while the fire truck driver was still driving. So no, Nagumo is still fighting Oki. And another thing about them is that pretty much the entire area where they've been fighting has been absolutely devastated. Like there's an entire demolished building right behind Nagumo, and there are tons of upheavaled and tipped over cars and destroyed streetlights and dislocated roads everywhere behind Oki. So Oki and Nagumo have been fighting this whole time, ever since they were fighting each other driving off the building, and then flew into the coffee house, and then had a cup of coffee, and then continued their fighting outside. They've been fighting ever since then. That was like, what, 4, maybe 5 chapters ago? They've been fighting for a while. So much for my Nagumo is the truck driver theory, because he's still dealing with Oki. And Oki still got his Naginata, and Nagumo has his own little special scythe that he's got out too, so. And he's just reveling in this, with Oki going like, there's quite a commotion in the city. Yeah, apparently we're not the only ones fighting. Kind of exciting, huh, Mr. Oki? It's like an actual war. And the fact that Oki can't get Nagumo to break character. Like he's all like, cheeky jerk, acting all cool. It's like, no matter what happens, Nagumo continues to have that little smile on his face. And all the matches are set for now until further developments occur? Exactly. Now that it's revealed to not be Nagumo, that whole part now does feel slightly a bit plot convenient, but hey, I ain't gonna complain. Look, Halster, we have witnessed ridiculous phenomenon, ridiculous things in this entire series. A random passerby in a fire truck managing to catch Shin before he hit the road after he fell out of the van because of Gozu. It is literally minuscule in comparison to the rare act of rolling up garbage in a bag, and it's somehow all coming together to piece together a full-on Glock, or the rare phenomenon where Shin's atoms don't interact with the atoms that make up Uzuki's sword, allowing his sword to pass through his body without beheading him. A random fire truck driver catching Shin on the middle of the street, literally bottom of the barrel of crazy plot stuff that's happened. Literally bottom of the barrel. Like I said, I don't mind. This is coming from someone who loves Fairy Tail. Oh, don't worry. Don't feel bad about it. Fairy Tail is amazing. But I get where you're coming from. Let's see. Also, who's in the chopper now? Just Amane, Toromaru, Aoi, and Hana, right? Along with Sakamoto, of course. Shin jumped out because he's going to be fighting Tanabata. So now I can't say that Tanabata is no longer unaccounted for. But the lineup for the people who are going to be facing each other is Shishiba and Gozu, Osaragi and Torres, Kipe and Mafuyu and his brother Natsuki, and Boiled and Wu-Tang against any other remaining members of the JAA who are trying to catch up to Sakamoto. Atari's there too. Yeah, Atari is there too. She's in the helicopter as well. And then we have Shin versus Tanabata with Aoi asking her husband to wake up, and we get a heartbeat. So that's where we are. That's where we are with Sakamoto Days. So at least we got the lineups. So while I really can't wait to focus on Shishiba versus Gozu, because Gozu is very, very confident that he's capable of taking every single person out. Yet every attempt has been foiled because of Shishiba thus far, ever since he showed up. So I cannot wait to see Gozu get bodied. But I know how strong Torres is, because he was someone that Sakamoto was using to train and try and get stronger and surpass, and he hasn't done that. He hadn't done that. But I am very interested in seeing just how much fervor Osaragi has for bringing down basically Torres and see how far things go. Hear me out. We saw how Aoi is getting mad, right? The mother assassin isn't accounted for unless Toromaru is the one who faces the mother assassin instead. That's true. That is one assassin who still hasn't been accounted for. So, that matchup still has to happen at that point. But we'll have to see. But I am happy that we got a lineup of who's going to be fighting who. It's no longer like, oh, let's just pile on top of each other. No, we got people who are going to be fighting each other specifically. So I'm very grateful for that. But overall, I really did enjoy this chapter. And I'm looking forward to the next one. Like One Piece, this one isn't going on break next week either. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Also, I think there's only a few more episodes of One Piece before it goes on break in January. So we're either going to get like a couple more here in December, and then we're going to go on break all the way until what? April? April? It'll give me some rest from doing like anime reactions for One Piece for a nice long while, but at the same time, I feel like we only got like a couple more episodes of One Piece left for this year before they start to move into that brand new format that they're going to be doing. Also looks like Sakamoto is getting close to being back. Exactly. Yeah, his heart is beating. Now, the thing that I would actually like for us to go into is us cutting back to Sakamoto in his mind while he was in there on a bench sitting right next to Rion. Because we started that with Sakamoto and we haven't seen anything inside of his mindscape ever since that moment happened. So I'm kind of curious to see how that section of the story is actually going to go. So I actually want to see that part continue before he officially wakes up. Yep, I literally just said that. I literally just said it before you said it. But yeah, that's just my great minds think alike. See, that's actually that Sakamoto and his mindscape, getting his mind back together. getting rid of the fear of him pretty much losing his family, that trembling that he still had even when he was facing off against Uzuki and company. I hope he comes to terms with everything that's gone on in his mind so he can 100% lock in. Because when this man wakes up, this is the whole reason why Uzuki has been sending the JAA after him. If he wasn't a threat, they would just let him go. But he's a threat by merely existing. And the only way they have even a sliver of a chance of fully bringing him down is literally him being in a coma. Because if it was anything less than that, they are in for the fight of their lives. Now, the thing is, when this man wakes up, when this man wakes up, everyone's gonna be like, oh snap, he's awake now. It's literally gonna be like Kenpachi walking in after massacring hundreds of Quincy's. It's like, oh, this guy is here. Yeah, I'm out. So it's literally gonna be like that. The moment Sakamoto wakes up, I can't wait to see when that happens. And we don't even know if he's gonna wake up before all of these matchups are done or after all of these matchups are done. If he wakes up during these matchups, everybody's gonna be on edge. Everyone who's been trying to kill him, that is all like, oh no, he's awake now. We can't do anything to him now. He's awake. It's like, that is the presence that Sakamoto carries. If he's awake, you're not winning. The only person to win against Sakamoto easily was Old Man Takamura. Literally the strongest assassin before he died. But when Sakamoto's around, it's literally like betting on Kaido. And land, air, or sea, always bet on Sakamoto. And that's what everyone is banking on. So the moment this man wakes up, that's not only when the tide is going to turn, but it's also going to be Sakamoto. I want to say this. I honestly feel that when Sakamoto wakes up, if he gets 100% locked in, he clears his mind completely, they're not going to be able to do anything to him from that point on. They're not going to be able to touch him from that point on, because he'll be 100% locked in to bring this all to an end. Remember, the author said that these final battles that we are going through are the last ones. Because after this, there's no other thing that's keeping us from like the end of the story. This is like the final battle arc of this, like the final battle of Sakamoto Days is already beginning. We're already in the middle of that right now. So we'll have to see. I will say if Nagumo ends up dying to Oki, I'm gonna forever be nervous whenever one of the good guys of a story is drawn in a panel like that. Having the Gojo face where he says, nah, I'd win. Yeah, I get what you mean. I won't say anything more of that because you never know if anyone is actually you still reading Jujutsu Kaisen or just specifically just watching the anime. So that's all I'll say about that. But I do feel like Nagumo is going to beat Oki because I feel like Nagumo is going to have one more confrontation with Uzuki. I mean, he's one of the few people that has actually traveled with Uzuki before he went on this descent of madness that his brother Asaki pushed him on. So I feel like Sakamoto and Nagumo are the only ones who understand Uzuki and are capable of speaking to him and walking away alive. Even if there was a confrontation, they'd still be able to walk away alive. But we'll have to see what happens in the next chapter and the chapters that go forward. Honestly, you want to know what I think? Honestly, I wonder where we'll end up. Because I wonder where we'll end up for One Piece at the end of December, when this year is out. Where will we leave off on? I also wonder where we're going to end up with Sakamoto Days by the end of December as well. Like, is it going to be Sakamoto waking up? Are all of these chapters that we're going to be getting throughout all of December? Like, how many weeks we got? We got 4 weeks. 4 weeks. 3 full weeks, 1 week that has 4 days, and another that has 6, which is the week that we're on. So the 1 through the 6 is from tomorrow all the way to Saturday. Then we got 3 full weeks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Sundays. If we don't go on break, we have 4 Sundays for the story of Sakamoto to progress to a certain point, and then we get left with a cliffhanger going into the new year of 2026. So we're still going to have to see. But overall, I am looking forward to seeing how the narrative continues for Sakamoto Days and company going forward. We got our matchup, we got people fighting people, and we got Sakamoto, who looks like he could be on the path to fully recovering, but I can only say so much, and there's not too much we can glean from just one simple heartbeat, because his heart has been beating the entire time he's been here. He hasn't been out completely, but there still are things that we need to consider before we reach the end of this year, and where all of these fights are going to end up. Because as soon as Sakamoto wakes up, that's when you know we are in endgame territory for the story of Sakamoto. Because once he's up, it's time to bring it all the way home. I think we're going to be close to the flashback ending by the end of December. And I think of Sakamoto Days, we're going to have either one of these fights concluding or we get Sakamoto waking up. See, you and I are the same mind again. I are the same mind again. It has to be, it's either we either continue with these fights for a little bit, or we end this month with Sakamoto waking up, and the new year is Sakamoto pretty much running hands with everybody who gets in his way to bring this war with the JAA to an end. But we're going to have to see. But that's all I got for Sakamoto Days. Time to get started on this new episode of One Piece, and I'll get it out to you guys as quickly as possible. Thank you for your patience. Once everything is all said and done, I'm getting back on Borderlands to play Harlow! I finally started a new character on Borderlands, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next thing I do for the rest of the week. But as it stands right now, time for me to bid you adieu. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Even check out the Patreon, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!